forward, no more backward, no more spinning around and around. My life is moving ever upwards, my feet are leaving the ground. Up, up, up to a higher pace, up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place, like in my soul, rising to a higher place. Higher place, like in my soul, rising to a higher place. No more downward, no more darkness, no more wondering the point of it all. My life is destined for greatness, my soul is ready to fall. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. Like in my soul, rising to a higher place. Higher place, like in my soul is rising to a higher place. Higher place, like in my soul rising to a higher place. Like in my soul is rising to a higher place. All right, that was a brand new song called Up, 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 and we did great, and we'll probably sing it again. But probably not today. And now we're going to do another Daniel Lemont tune. We'll let you all just sing along with us here. This is called I Will Follow You. I want to thank you, I want to praise you, I want to do what you have me do. I want to thank you, I want to praise you, I want to do what you have me do. I want to thank you, I want to praise you, I want to do what you have me do.
Good morning. Oh, there we go. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to everyone here, as well as of those of you joining us online, to Unity Spiritual Center, where our mission is all about inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world and transforming lives. And when I read this mission, I can't help but be reminded of the wonderful Wayne Green and the many lives he has transformed and the positive difference he has made in this world and in the worlds of many of us here. And like many of you, I am still reeling by his sudden passing last week. And while we can affirm and know that Wayne is now in God's all-loving light and swimming in a sea of unconditional love, we also acknowledge that this place, Unity Spiritual Center, will never be the same. And he will be deeply missed by all of us who know and love him. And we hold Jackie and the entire family in our hearts during this very difficult time. I wonder, will that help? Oh, where's the antenna? Like this? Like a singer? I got this. Is that gonna? Yeah, I can start rocking this. It's pink. I'm pink. Channeling. Okay, so my name is Amber McKenzie, and I am your platform assistant this morning. Oh, that does help. Okay, good. If you could take a moment now to please silence your cell phones, but before you do, make sure you check in with your people online and let them know that you're here in the most wonderful place on earth, if you ask me, and also let them know that they can watch this online, live streaming. Okay. So we want to begin our time together by sharing our opening affirmation. I will say it once and then just ask that you repeat it with me. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. Together, there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. This is Unity's foundation principle. One presence, one power, one life living through and as each and every one of us. This morning, we will hear from the amazing Dr. Jane, who will be sharing the Sunday message, A World That Wants to Happen. And then Dr. Gary will be leading the meditation. And of course, we are being blessed musically this morning by the Wrights and the Unity Choir. Yay! So let's all stand and sing our community song.
We're going to sing I Can Do Anything. Well, I can do anything I make up my mind to do. I got a thing inside that I was designed to do, and nothing can hold me back. Well, if I don't want it to, 'cause I can do anything I make up my mind to do. 'Cause if I can think, then I can dream. What I can dream, I can believe. When I believe, then I can see. I can do anything. Anything. Can be anyone that I decide to be. And I have a great big dream growing inside of me, and nothing can bring me down, 'cause I know what's right for me. Well, I can be anyone that I decide to be. Come on, sing it now. 'Cause if I can think, then I can dream. What I can dream, I can believe. When I believe, then I will see. I can do anything. Really? Anything. Well, I can do anything I make up my mind to do. I got a thing inside that I was designed to do, and nothing can hold me back. Well, if I don't want it to, it's always, 'cause I can do anything I make up my mind to do. Well, I can do make up my mind to do. There you go. Good job.
Good morning. There we go. My name's Linda Tweedy, and I have the announcements. There they are. Chaplain training, sign up today. Meeting on the 6th, the 16th, and the 20th. And if you're planning on doing that, please get a questionnaire from Al after the service out in the atrium.
Okay. I don't need this. Good morning, everybody. I'm doing an announcement. I know, eh? How many of you know Dennis Ashley? Yes. For those of you who don't, he has been a long time foundational member of this church since 1979 and has been on staff until 3 months ago when he left to take his own ministry at the Church of Truth in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And we want to support Dennis. We're supporting him in having his new ministry blossom in any way that we can. And so one of those ways is that we can do that by attending his upcoming play. Now, how many of you know about Dennis and his plays? He has blessed us with many of those things over the years. He's doing a play called Love Letters, and it's Valentine weekend, seems appropriate, at his church in Coeur d'Alene. Now, the reason he's doing this, one of the reasons, is because the building that his community is in is 97 years old and has an electrical system from that era, I think. So the whole place needs to be rewired, and so he's doing this. All the proceeds from this will be going to that. And we don't typically do these kinds of announcements for those kind of, community things that are happening out there, but we really, really love Dennis, and we want to see him flourish. And so I would invite you to go ahead and get tickets for that. Gary and I are buying ours after service, and it's Courtney Litwin who'll have them. She'll be sitting out in the fellowship area at a table there. So there you go. Okay. Did I do good?
So I get to make the other announcements. So after service in the chapel, we'll be having a community member orientation at 12:30. For anybody who's interested in deepening their connection to Unity Spiritual Center. So we're kind of relaxed around membership, and it seems that whenever we have community member orientation, a few folks trickle in, but membership in Unity is integral to our organization's well-being because the many roles within the church require a person be a governing member, and so when we have opportunities for you to kind of get connected deeper, we want to really encourage it. And so if you've wondered about membership in Unity, just come and check it out at 12:30. The next thing I want to share is that the Q Process workshop will happen next Saturday. This Saturday I'm going to be doing the workshop instead of Serena, it turns out. And so I just wanted to remind everyone that this is a core program of our community. And did you talk about your class? You're going to do that later in your talk. Okay, great. So just so you know that Jane and I and our business partner Rima, we're the Q Effect. We created the Q Process, the art and practice of living with nothing and no one against you. And we started out 10 years ago, and now over 8,000 people in the world have gone through the Q Process. And we have over 130 people trained to facilitate this throughout the world. And so this is our vision is that every New Thought church has an in-house facilitator of this deeper shadow work program. And so if you're interested in being able to be present to any life situation without feeling diminished by it, this is the aim of the Q Process. Check it out. Do register today because this is the last day to get in. And then finally, next Sunday is our town hall meeting. It's an opportunity for the leadership to share the budget, and Dr. Jim's going to talk about the budget next year in just a second. But we just want to mention that while town hall meetings and our annual meeting next in February will also be important, and these meetings tend not to be attended when there's not conflict or drama. And so we'll try not to create conflict or drama to get you to come, but I will say that we're going to make it a very important announcement about the future of the ministry that's only going to happen next Sunday at the town hall meeting. So just saying. All right, it's time now for the board update. Dr. Jim. Let's go ahead and switch.
So is this right angle? Good morning.
It's not on. There you go.
Not on.
There, now it's on.
It's a new battery. Yeah, you don't use it that way anymore.
Okay. All right. Are you playing with me, Dave? Good morning. My name is Jim Sled. Privilege of being treasurer on your board of directors, and I'm going to spend some time chatting with you this morning about the budget. I know you're just dying to hear all of that. Several people have asked me over the last couple of weeks, how the heck does a church do a budget? And I have a very good answer for you. Very prayerfully. So the church is a different animal than a lot of other organizations when it comes to budgeting. We can pretty much guess or estimate our expenses, but knowing our income is a very different animal because we have one sole source of our income, and that's us. And our board last year has made a goal of paying all of our expenses to keep this wonderful place going through your contributions, your tithes, your love offerings. And then that way our fundraising doesn't have to go to fill gaps. It can go to do different fun things instead of filling some gaps in our income stream. So I thought I would just talk a little bit about how that process goes. So Linda Tweedy, who you saw just a few moments ago, is our financial guru. So Linda and I, at the end of, towards the end of the year, about November, get together and we look at past budgets, look out at our expenses, and we've seen we have expenses gone up, get down. As you can imagine, they vary year to year somewhat, but not a lot. I mean, we run a pretty lean machine around here. So we can pretty much dial in our expenses, and then we go look at, okay, what can we estimate then as to our income? And right now we're using fundraising to get a good percentage of our income in that situation. And we'd love then to change that so that everything, all of our expenses comes from us, and then those budget deficits. This is probably you too, Dave. Our budget deficits then don't need to be filled with fundraising. Then after that, we take that budget to an ad hoc committee. And the ad hoc committee this year was Linda, myself, Charlie Carr, and Maxim Johnston. And then the four of us go through line by line and make sure that our projections make good sense. Then that goes to the board, and the board then approves the budget for the year. So that's all happened. I have posted the budget out on the bulletin board out by the treats. So if you're interested, please go take a look at that. On the table, you'll also find copies of that. So if you're interested in coming to the town hall meeting and you have some questions about it, that's a good resource for you. What we don't want to do is go to the annual meeting and have a discussion on the budget. We want that to be pretty much clear by then. So please take advantage of that. And if you have any questions or any suggestions, please come to talk to Linda or myself. So thank you.
We have a green Chrysler convertible, license number ASR1116. Lights on. Anybody with a green Chrysler? Lights are on. So during our meditation this morning, let's keep in mind the Green family and Donna McClure, Reese Hinthorn. And so I invite you to speak the names of loved ones or others that you know of that would benefit from our spending a few moments together, sending our love, sending our prayers. So I invite you to speak those names into this room right now. And so as we enfold these dear ones into our time together, as we call into this moment all those who are in need of healing or comfort or care, blessing, whatever is the need, let us simply open our hearts now and know that we can be the conveyance of something so near and dear to anyone who is in any way challenged in these moments or during these times. And so as we open our own hearts, as we bring into our own mind's eye someone or something that we appreciate, as we together create this field of heart-centered coherence, the love and the care that we have makes its way to every one of those names, those individuals that were spoken, as well as those that remain in the silence of our hearts. We can simply rest in the awareness that at this deeper level, at the level of our oneness, of our connection, heart to heart, we can feel this expression of love that includes and leaves out no one, but includes our intent to lift this world into a greater expression of light and love. And we use what tugs at our heart to remind us that we are here in it together, that we need each other. And our need makes us stronger because our connection enables us to be present to all that we can experience that brings us into a greater expression of who and what we've come here to be. And so for the hearts that are comforted and for the lives that are blessed, let us now enter into the silence and in our own quiet way begin to send our thoughts, our prayers to whomever and wherever there is the need in the silence. And so breathe in and release. Breathe in and release. And so let us give thanks. Let us feel a sense of gratitude in advance for all the wondrous ways that those names and lives that have come before us have now been blessed. We give thanks in advance for the wondrous ways in which comfort and healing and abundance and fulfillment and empowerment and vision and opportunity and thanksgiving can happen. And for this we are grateful. So it is. Amen.
There is healing in my soul. There is healing in my words. There is healing in my touch. The touch of love, the touch of love. There is healing in my hands. There is healing in my mind. There is healing in my heart, for God is healing me. For God is healing
Thank you. Let's take a deep breath, shall we? That's the perfect song for us to be singing today, wouldn't you agree? Many of us are feeling the loss of Wayne Green and his sudden passing last week, and for Jackie and her family, and I'm right there too. So just know that as a community, that as we come together and hold the space for healing, that it creates that coherent, energetic field where healing can happen. And that each and every one of you is an important part of that. So I want to thank you for showing up today and being a part of the healing that is going on here. But it's a very tender day. And so it's okay to feel what you're feeling. And if I lose it today, I apologize in advance. But just know that you are loved and that you are an important member of this community, whether you're a member or not, signed up member, that your heart is part of it. So thank you. All right. Well, as you heard, my talk title is A World That Wants to Happen. And that is taken from the writings of a woman named Margaret Wheatley. How many of you have heard of her or her work? She's an organizational development and leadership development guru, and she's all about change and transformation. And her work is very poignant, especially this time on Earth, I believe, anyway. And when I read that, A World That Wants to Happen, I thought that was an interesting perspective, and it rated more deeper exploration. And for me, it begs the question, well, if there's a world that wants to happen, what's stopping it exactly? Turns out, yep, it's us, but I'll say more about that as we go. What's in the way? And so she asks a very poignant question of all of us, and it's this: are you willing to use whatever power and influence you have to create islands of sanity that evoke and rely on our best human qualities to create, to produce, to persevere? Are you willing to do that? Well, what if those islands of sanity want to happen, but it will take all of us to welcome them in and to create the environment for them to emerge? Can you imagine that? I'll be talking about some of Margaret Wheatley's work this morning, along with the integral philosopher, everyone's favorite integral philosopher, Ken Wilber. So, I just finished reading his latest book, 800 pages. I know. Someone thought this morning that we were going to hear Harry Potter, but I said, yeah, sorry. But it's almost as magical, actually. This book has used up 3 entire highlighters. It just dried every one of them up. How many of you have ever read anything by Ken Wilber? Would you describe it as an easy read? No, it can be challenging to say the least. Sometimes I have to wade through a lot of mind-stretching, deeply intellectual, almost understandable brilliance, but I can get to a place where I can kind of grasp it, at least enough to turn the page and keep on going. But other times, when I read him, I stumble upon the most gifted, uplifting, inspiring words of wisdom that open me up to a deeper understanding of integral living and what that means. And I'm going to attempt to share some of that inspiration with you this morning, because my deepest belief is that a paradigm shift to a kinder, more compassionate world can happen. That it's possible. And in fact, it's a world that wants to happen. But it needs us to help it emerge. So, are you willing to use whatever power and influence you have to create some islands of sanity? Yes. Well, the good news is there are many people hearing this clarion call to bring this reality into manifestation, being inspired into action through the awakening of an internal evolutionary impulse. How many of you are feeling that? It's an urging from within to be more, to help usher in something greater, something transformative. And in the past, we've done a lot of exploration of what it means to live integrally in such a way that it can help to midwife this new way of being into expression while hospicing the old paradigm at the same time. And if you remember, we described it this way: showing up, cleaning up, growing up, and waking up. And if you were not here for those series of talks or would like to hear them again, you can find them all on the website. But to recap a little bit, it's possible to take a closer look at transformation through a framework that is used and taught by Ken Wilber, known as the 4-quadrant model. And what this model really illustrates is a holistic way of exploring transformation, using both inner and outer work, using both individual and collective work, because it needs all of it. It's internal, it's external, it's each of us individually, and it's all of us collectively. But where does it start? Right, within. It starts within. There's a Taoist proverb that reads, if you want to awaken all of humanity, then awaken all of yourself. And all 4 quadrants come into play in that process. And so the upper left quadrant refers to our own internal individual consciousness, that which is within us. Whereas the upper right is referring to the body, the external. It includes the physical practices that we do, that we partake in order to connect with that consciousness. So meditation, heart coherence techniques, mindfulness, all of that. Now the lower left, we move to collective. That's about culture, cultural identity. And it means that when we come together as a spiritual community, we develop collectively through our shared experience, through our shared mission. We become more as a collective. And then the lower right is the external of that culture. It's the systems that contain it. And it includes for us spiritual social action, in which we can collectively take action for systemic change. It's helping the systems transform, because don't some of those systems need to transform? Yes. Oy, I tell you. It just gets more and more apparent to me every single day that the system is the problem. So in order to bring forth a world that wants to happen, we need to bring all of this into play. We want to be at this meeting point of our own personal development, our consciousness awakening with those spiritual practices, and then our cultural evolution along with spiritual social action. And this is what awakening all of us means. It's personal, social, cultural, is institutional and systemic transformation. Are you up for it? Yes. Yes. It's time. It truly is time for us. Do you feel that? It's living from the inside out, consciously aware of the truth of our being and expressing our divine nature in such a way that we bless the world and all that live upon it. It's demonstrating the consciousness that helps to welcome into expression the world that wants to happen, the world that we desire to see come forth, one that's an example of living from the truth of mutual inter-abiding connectedness, that interbeingness of the web of life, rather than being caught in the reactivity of the illusion of separation. And just learning about this helps to increase our own level of understanding. In fact, it's our level of evolutionary intelligence. You've heard about the multiple intelligences. Well, there's one called evolutionary intelligence. And we develop into a greater expression of who we are, who we truly are, as we learn more and more about how all this works. And the world that wants to happen needs us to do this. And we have a major role to play in bringing this forth into manifestation. These islands of sanity, by the way, are not exclusionary or isolated. In fact, the very opposite. As we widen our circle of compassion, we find that we're on one big island and that we're all on it together. It's called planet Earth, yes. But we have to awaken to that truth. And so imagine there was a school, and that the only way the class can move forward is if everyone passes. That's kind of what it is. We're all kind of helping each other. As Ram Dass says, we're all walking each other home. It's that. And so it's up to all of us. And guess what? We have the ability. Whatever our ability is, it's needed right now. Gandhi is quoted as saying the difference between what we do and what we're capable of doing would suffice to solve most of the world's problems. So, how do we do that? How do we help to midwife this world that wants to happen into manifestation? Well, one of the basic elements for each of us to practice is, you ready? Yes. Drum roll. Deep gratitude, yes. Gratitude, taking stock of what we're grateful for in our lives and adding to that list daily. Giving thanks for the blessings that are showing up, as well as looking for and finding the ones that are more well hidden. And that practice alone can turn our lives around as we look for the good, as we find the gift in our life experience. So do not discount the value of this. We're not talking about some anemic, vague, feeble kind of gratitude practice. We're talking about a kick-butt, generative, change your life, transformative, vibratory power that is available to each and every one of us right now. Right now. And in fact, it is a prerequisite for growth and development. It's not the end result. We start there. Turn to the person next to you and tell them one thing you're grateful for right now. But it entails not only feeling gratitude for things that have happened that we like. Saying thank you for a blessing is just being polite. It's also about looking for the gift in the things that we're not so happy about. Finding how life is for us, how things that trigger us are showing us something valuable, and then using that information to awaken. Now, of course, if we have had a serious loss or are grieving as we are, today, or if we're recovering from abuse or trauma of some kind, we don't just skip along and find the gift in that. There's time, it takes time. So don't hear that I'm saying that. What I am saying, though, is that when we can look back on challenging things in our life that we have worked through and can find the gift in those situations, then guess what? We can put the past to rest. And that is the empowering effect of integration. So along with that, it is incumbent upon us to cultivate a form of meta-awareness, which means that we become aware of when we are projecting and when we're perceiving and comprehending something from the filters of our past through those filters. And when we see it, when we become aware of it, when we awaken to it, then we don't get hooked on our own reactivity. Anybody ever got hooked on your own reactivity? And until we do that work, we stay asleep as to how it is that we are creating our life experience. We just stay in that sort of victim mode. I know it well. So imagine if the whole purpose of our work here is to shift us out of the story of separation and into the reality of oneness, and to live in the understanding that there's only one life living itself as each and every heart. And so we move into this reality as we show up, saying yes to the work. And then cleaning up our unfinished business of the past, clearing a path for spirit to express. And as we continue doing that cleaning up work, we begin to truly grow into who we have come here to be, waking up to the deeper dimension within us, finding what makes us come alive in a passionate way, finding what our gift to life is, and then sharing that with the world as we step into authentic action. And this helps to usher in the new paradigm of living that is ready to emerge. But we don't make it happen. We make it welcome. It wants to happen. Its emergence begins within and continues with every action that we take. And Ken Wilber puts it this way: every time you think an integral thought, conceive an integral idea, read or write an integral sentence, every time an integral feeling runs through your body, every single time you are building internal integral coherence, and every time your pulse quickens with the thought of a more beautiful, more truthful, more ethical world tomorrow, every time you ask what you can do to create a kinder, more ethical world, you are contributing to creating that world. Think of it, every time you take a moment to comfort a child or to listen to another with compassion and caring, every time you do a cue process worksheet or choose not to react to a judgment, every time you get still and listen to Spirit's voice, act out of integrity, forgive something from your past, treat yourself with kindness, each moment you feel gratitude for all the blessings of your life, those choices matter. They contribute. Do you see that? The correct response is yes. And they help to midwife a new paradigm of living, and maybe your next word or your next action is the tipping point to welcoming it in. There's no time to lose in assisting with the birth of this integral worldview. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. It's time. I read a story this week written by an Aveda hairstylist named David Wagner, who calls himself a day maker. And that means that whenever anyone asks him what he does for a living, he says, "I make people's day." And he takes that to heart. And one day, a regular customer who came in every 5 weeks or so for a cut made an appointment right in the middle of her regular schedule cycle. And he was surprised to see her name there. And he asked her if she had a special event of some kind that day, and she said no. She just wanted to feel good and look good on this day. And so he pulled out all the stops. He gave her the works, an extra special scalp massage, treatments for her hair, took his time styling it just the way she wanted. And all through the appointment, the two of them laughed and shared jokes and really enjoyed each other's company. And she loved how her hair looked, and she left with a big smile on her face. Well, 2 days later, he got a letter from her, and she admitted that on that day, she had sunk to the depths of the deepest, darkest depression and was questioning whether life was worth living. And she came in to see him, and they had such a connection, and she laughed so much that she decided that life was not so bad. And then she discovered the joy within her heart, and she thanked him for helping her to discover that joy that she had not felt for so long. And when he read this, he was stunned by it, because he had no idea that anything like that was going on within her. And he wondered what might have happened if he had just gone through the motions that day, if he had not put his heart into it as he had. And he felt a deep sense of responsibility for being a kind presence. Do you see that? That no matter who was in front of him, that his job was to be that kindness and that compassion, because he never knew what might be going on in their world. Acts of kindness and compassion are healing. There's healing in our hearts, in our hands, in our voices, in our minds, We are the avenue through that healing. Do you see it? So are you willing to use whatever power and influence you have to create islands of sanity? Because the real beauty of this work is that as each person says yes to it, we join together one heart at a time. And then we realize the only way we get voted off this island is through our own sense of separation, through our own limiting beliefs, our judgments, our unhealed shadow projections. We are on the island, but we vote ourselves off when those things happen. Now I got to tell you, I got to warn you, lean in. This work takes courage. We dive deeply into places that we may have avoided for decades. It takes courage to live your life as if everything that happens has the potential to be good in your life. And it takes courage to grow and to transform. However, as the new chair of the Parliament of the World Religions, Audrey Kitagawa said, change will visit your life. Change is an inevitable part of life, but the choice to be deliberate and conscious in our transformative journey, that's ours. That's ours. Choosing to live a life of integral wholeness, stepping into the reality of who we are, doing what we've come here to do, and I don't know about you, but I do not want to regret not stepping into the truth of who I am and feel like I missed the mark in helping to bring forth change when it is so needed. We live in a world that wants to happen, and it's time to withdraw our support for the illusion of separation and competition, and instead ask our heart for guidance as to what wants to come forth, and then undergird that vision with our willingness and our power. That world already exists in potential right now. Do you see it? Just waiting for us to align with that divine potential and help to fashion it into form. And it's time for us to take action that helps to transform this world. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. As spiral dynamics researcher Don Beck says, no more prizes for predicting rain, only prizes for building arcs. See? So do not neglect to exercise the privilege of unleashing your creative self to make a difference in our world and to help build those arcs and to help create islands of sanity. In fact, to explore how to do that, I am beginning a class that will meet once a month on a Saturday morning, once a month. And we'll be using a variety of materials in this class, including Margaret Wheatley's and Ken Wilber's, but others, Terry Patton, Charles Eisenstein. There's a whole fleet of integral pioneers, Joe Dispenza. And one of the prerequisites for taking this class is to have done the Q process, since part of this cleanup work we're going to do will entail worksheets. So if you have not done the Q process and you want to attend the class, you have an opportunity next Saturday to do so. The other prerequisite is to have either been at the live presentations I did last year on spiral dynamics or watched the videos on evolving paradigms, and I can provide you with a link to that if you want to do it. And I'll have more to say about this as life goes on. But just suffice it to say that if you want to explore how to create islands of sanity and to help create a world that wants to happen, please join up, show up, clean up, grow up, and wake up. And you can sign up at the bookstore. You can sign up to either register for the class or if you just want more information, put it down. I'll get in touch with you. Not yet. So, to begin the work, we take these steps. Take stock of all the blessings you have received. Write them down every single day. Keep adding to your list. And then feel appreciation and gratitude. Don't just think about it. Feel it. Consciously be on the lookout for blessings in your life. Especially look for the evidence of how the things that happen in your life are for you. Hang on till you get it. And then ask your heart how you can contribute to a kinder world. Be a day maker. How can you make someone's day? And then consider joining together with others monthly to widen your circle of compassion and create islands of sanity. I believe we're all called to this work. But don't take my word for it. Our theme this entire year is, don't believe a word I say. Instead, put this into practice. The social activist Howard Zinn, I love Howard Zinn, said this: we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of present moments. And to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that's happening around us, is itself a marvelous victory. So are you willing to use whatever power and influence you have to bring forth a kinder, more compassionate world?
Yes.
Let's get to it.
Thank you, Dr. Jane. I said this in the first service, and I'll say it again. Wayne Green was, without a doubt, the epitome of a day maker. And he was definitely my Sunday maker. So he's inspired me to do the same for others, and I hope I can do that. So thank you. Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, for we know that there is one power, one presence, one life. So whoever you are and wherever you are on your journey of transformation, you are welcome here. We would especially like to welcome anyone who's here for the first time. If this is your first time here and you feel comfortable raising your hand, our ushers have a gift packet for you. Anyone here for the first time? Oh, great. Couple. So on the outside of the packet that you're receiving, there is a form you can fill out to be added to our mailing list for our weekly e-news update and quarterly newsletter. If you are interested, please fill it out and drop it in the love offering bag as it comes around instead of giving a donation today. Also, after the service, you can take this packet to our barista stand and get a free beverage of your choice, as well as take it to the bookstore and get a CD of today's wonderful talk. If you have any questions, you can ask any member of our welcome team. There's a few of you with your yellow on. Wave them around. Yep. So those in yellow are part of our welcome team. And we also have name tags that you can find in your seat pocket in front of you if you don't have one on. That way when we go around and do our welcome, we can know your first name. Okay, and also we would like to welcome our online viewers. Thank you for joining us this morning. Okay, so now it's time to greet each other with a handshake, a hug, a high five, a wave, a namaste, whatever you're comfortable with. But before we do that, let's stand with our welcome song.
Everybody, we're going to sing the gathering song. We are gathering song, welcoming the oneness, opening the doors of spirit wide. We are walking into light, starting out together on a journey through the miracles inside. We are gathering song, welcoming the oneness, opening the doors of spirit wide. We are walking into light, starting out together on a journey through the miracles inside. Covering our lives, opening up us to spirit wide. We are walking tonight, starting out together, journeying through the miracles inside. We are gathering in song, covering our oneness, opening the doors of spirit wide. We are walking tonight, starting out together, journeying through the miracles inside. We are gathering, we welcome in that oneness. We're walking the doors of spirit wide. We're walking tonight, we're on a journey through the miracles inside.
Good morning again. He's back. Okay. Okay, great. So this is a time in our service where we welcome and appreciate your financial contributions to this wonderful place. And we know that, as Jane aptly says every time, gratitude is the important thing here. And gratitude and generosity are inextricably tied. So we know that out here, all of us hold the idea of balancing our budget through our contributions to this wonderful place. So let's hold that thought in our hearts as we share our prosperity blessing together. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share, and so it is.
So we have a very appropriate choral piece here for you this morning. This is not anything we planned. We just picked this song for January, and then it ends up to be kind of this appropriate remembrance song. Yeah, so it will fit well with the loss of Wayne Green, and I know in our choir, Ken Contop lost his uncle this week, and a very dear family friend of mine passed away last week in California. His name was Phil Matson, and some of you might know that the Matson family lived here in Spokane for years. Phil taught at Gonzaga, and he had the Phil Matson School of Jazz, and his daughter Elizabeth was a member here. She's still here in town. And he'll be sorely missed. He was a Grammy Award nominated choral composer, and I learned a ton from him. So a lot of Phil comes through in my directing. So this song, I hope you enjoy it. It's called Journey in Peace.
Thank you, choir. That was amazing. Beautiful. Okay, and so we give thanks for these gifts and for those who have given them as we send them forth to bless our world. And so it is. Thank you. And as we are giving thanks for the gifts we are receiving here at Unity Spiritual Center, we want to take time to thank those in service to our ministry. And so today we would like to say a special thank you to board members. So if you've been a board member in the past or in the present, could you please stand to be acknowledged? We thank you so much for your service. Thank you, board members. Okay, our chaplains today are Amber and Julian. Woohoo! So, and chaplains, yeah, chaplains wear, well, Julian's not. We wear purple now. It was his idea to get it. I know, it was his idea too, and he wanted the purple one. So, yeah, I'll get you one. And Julian's been holding the entire service in prayer, as one of our chaplains does every Sunday. And so if you have something heavy on your heart, which I feel like many of us do, or there's something that you would like to celebrate, please come up to the front and pray with one of us. We will hold whatever that is in prayer with you. And so we'll just be right up here at that time. Okay, you can also fill out a prayer request form, which you will find in the seat pocket in front of you. And so what you'll want to do is just fill that out, and you can place it in the prayer box up. Oh, it's not up here. Oh, yeah, it is. It's on the floor. Why don't you just place it in the foyer, since it's more convenient? And then what happens with those is that our prayer team prays over that for 7 days, and then we send it on to Silent Unity, where it's prayed over for 30 days. Also, if you have someone that you know that has requested a chaplain visit that's in the hospital, please fill out the visit request form, and someone will get a hold of you to make that happen. We just ask that you make sure that the person has requested it. Okay, also one other announcement that I wanted to make is that the Celebration of Life for Wayne Green will be held on Saturday, February 9th at 2 p.m. right here. Okay, so we hope, and we know many will be here, so we hope to just celebrate that wonderful spirit of a man that we all miss very much. Okay, and so now let's welcome our children.
We are singing for the stars, we are singing for the love is our light. We are singing, for this love is our light. We are singing, for this love is our light. We are singing, oh, we are singing, for this love is our light. We are singing, oh, we are singing, for this love is our light. We are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, oh, we are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, oh, we are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, for this joy is our light.
Hi, kids. It's snowing. Did you guys notice that? I just noticed that. Is that awesome or what? Do you hope we can go sledding? I hope not. I hope not. We are so grateful for all of you young people here at Unity Spiritual Center and for those of you all in service to our youth. So let's take a moment to bless the children and those in service to our youth with our children's blessing. Ready? Be the love you are.
Sing the song you hear. Share your joy of life with people far and near.
And for ourselves, be the love we are.
Sing the song we hear.
Share our joy of life
with people far and near.
Yay! Good job, everybody. Now you can go back to find the people you came here with. Be careful. Okay. Did everybody find their people? Yep. Looks good, looks good. Okay. So please stand as you are able and join together for our closing prayer, followed by the peace song. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And that's the truth.
So don't forget to show up, clean up, grow up, wake up, and sign up to be a daymaker. And so it is.